With another solo podcast episode today. So timely. Today, I am going to be talking about how we were able to crush over $550,000 in sales in a conversion event in less than 14 days. Yes, that's what I'm talking about. Those of you who are curious about how to launch, how to do master classes, how have we perfected it? That's what I'm going to be talking about over the next couple of minutes today. And I want to say first and foremost that it's easy to look from the outside and think that it just kind of happened and that we're really lucky. What I want you guys to understand is that my very first launch, if you will, of my LinkedIn coaching, I made $1,200. Okay. And it has been a 3.5-year process to fine tune and perfect. And I find that people give up before they get into flow state when it comes to launching. I find that people change too many things at one time. When one launch doesn't go well, they radically change so much for the next launch. You can never determine like what changes are actually giving results, right? And so I will say this before I really jump in, and maybe this is just my first big tip for you guys, is between conversion events, try to only change one major variable at a time, because otherwise you're not going to know what you're doing that's either optimizing or negatively impacting your launch, right? So we did some major changes with this launch that we just did, and there was a ton of other ideas we wanted to implement, but we decided to hold steady and not make any additional changes, even including some of the copy we wanted to change on the landing page and some things we wanted to change in the email sequences. And we decided, no, we can't change that, because if we do, we won't be able to determine if these other things that we changed actually impacted the results, right? So let me unleash to you from my perspective after crushing our first $500,000 in a single launch. And mark my words, our goal in July is to actually hit an eclipse and go over the $1 million mark, because we're just continuing to fine tune, right? We did a $300,000 launch in January. We did, a 550 launch here in March, and I want to double it. We're going to double it next launch. Okay, so here's the thing. Number one is to plan ahead. I can't tell you how many times I get on calls with folks who are trying to slap something together last minute, and they're trying to generate interest last minute, and that never works. You have to create authority and rapport before you're inviting people into a masterclass, whether you're growing an email list or you're being really present on social media, like my favorite LinkedIn. But we can't just come to market with a masterclass and invite people to join if we haven't created community, if we haven't created authority. We haven't earned the right to invite anyone to come take a look. There's no credibility, right? So first and foremost, if you're planning on creating a conversion event, a masterclass where you're going to pitch into a program like we do, you need to get ahead of the game from a marketing standpoint and start being active on social media or in your nurture for your email sequence. However, you're getting in front of your audience. How are you creating community? How are you creating authority and brand awareness, right? What are you doing leading up to inviting people to a masterclass to create expertise, value, and authority, right? This can be, again, through social media. We are very conscientious. We have a marketing map team call every single month, and we talk about our marketing map of content that's going out that should be on brand and on pace with what we're promoting, right? Your email list, are you nurturing? What's the open rate? Are you creating value in your email list so that people are opening between masterclasses because they're getting value from you, so that when you do pitch them into a masterclass, they opt in because they've already gained so much knowledge from you, right? The other two places are power partnerships. Prior to launching a masterclass, can you collaborate with influencers who have large networks that have an audience that would love the value of your free class. When I was first growing my business and I had zero money to spend and invest in ads or marketing or anything, one of the biggest strategies that got me to six-figure launches was collaborating with thought leaders in certain industries, which their networks could tremendously benefit from free LinkedIn coaching, right? And I would work with them and incentivize them. Hey, if you bring me X number of audience members, I'll give you like a one-on-one audit, or I'll give you reciprocate, bring them value when you're asking for access to their network. It's one of the most strategic and impactful ways to grow because your conversion rates also are much higher with a warm lead, warm audience, meaning even a warm introduction from a thought leader who's, hey, this Melissa Henault girl, she really knows her LinkedIn. You guys should check this out. That is more of a warm lead because you're credible from someone they know. The likelihood to purchase goes up, right? Also with planning ahead, so that's marketing, that's brand awareness, that's a thought leadership. Also, you need a plan ahead as far as execution. So we had to slow down to speed up. 2 years ago, we realized that we were just, a hot mess with launches, and we really slowed down, sat down, and painstakingly came up with all the individual tasks that needed to happen in order to launch a webinar, right? We created an Asana board with each person and their names and their responsibilities. And even though it was painstakingly excruciating, long process, now, to this day, it's a rinse and repeat. That Asana board is there when it's time to ramp up for launches. Everyone knows what they need to be doing on the team in order to move forward with the launch. It's such a well-oiled machine for us, and this is probably going to blow some of y'all's minds. It kind of blows mine. The week before launch, literally, Jackie and I, my operations director, we were in a mastermind for a whole week, totally out of pocket, while the pre-launch was running, while the team was executing, while the leads were coming in for the masterclass, because it's such a well-oiled machine with delegation and with assignment of tasks, with absolute clarity of swim lanes of what needs to be done by when. Jackie and I showed up. We flew home on a Friday morning to turn around on Monday morning to launch the most epic launch we've ever had. I want that to sink in for you guys. We were literally gone to a business mastermind for the week prior to our launch, and we did over $500,000 in that launch. That is a testament to the organization and task assignment on the back end that everyone knows what they're supposed to be doing, right? Beautiful example. I just have to give my team a huge shout out there. Plan ahead also. Pre-launch, the weekend before, guys, I get nutty about groceries. I have tons of healthy food. I have planned healthy meals in the house. I am super hydrated with snacks all around, right? Because it's going to be high stress. Your nerves are shot. There's nothing like a launch for some nerves with so much on the line, right? And then also plan ahead some recovery injections. I call them recovery injections. 14 days, 9 days. I say 14 because our Clark closes on the ninth day, but we have so much overflow of consult calls. Like I still have one today. We have an overflow of consult calls afterwards that it's really at the 9th hour on that 9th day that we really start to ramp up activity and following up with all the stragglers. And I'll talk about that in a minute. But so it's important that you have some energy recovery injections throughout. So the first Wednesday in the middle of our 9-day launch, I went out to dinner with my husband and we planned a little bit about our vacation in St. John in the coming week, right? I also, a couple of days later, went and got adjusted and had a deep tissue massage, all in the throes of a chaotic launch, right? And I'll talk about this in a minute, but it's important for your energy. Because you think burning the candle at both ends and nonstop is the way to go. But what you don't realize is the negative impact it's making on your energy and how you're actually showing up on screen. And your energy is everything, right? My team is phenomenal at this. They know that they need to protect my energy because I'm the face of the company that has to be speaking every day to, engage and motivate potential clients to join us, right? And so perceivably, and I'll talk about this in a minute, my calendar looks super clear around launch, but when really there's a lot going on for me to inwardly protect my energy so that I can go big when I'm there to serve, right? Okay. That brings me to mental and physical attention. Okay. Mental and physical attention. So let's talk through the mental attention first. If you've been following me for a while, you know that I am huge into Joe Dispenza and visioning and meditation. And when it comes to my daily practice during launch, one of the reasons my calendar, I try to keep really clean outside of when I'm streaming live, I have a very specific routine in the mornings where I sit and I do hypno breath work. I've created my own hypno breath work session for launches, which, by the way, if you join my Unblock Your Business Hypno Breath Work group coaching program next month, you'll get access to this. But I sit with it. I do the breath work. It helps regulate my nervous system. But there's also a guided meditation that helps me visualize how I'm going to show up, visualize the success, feel the emotion of the success, feel how it looks, and anticipate a wildly successful launch, which integrates literally into my nervous system and my DNA and how I'm showing up to order to reflect that energy, manifest the business, right? So every day prior to launch, every day I do that. And I also listen through Bluetooth speaker in my shower while I'm getting ready in the mornings. I listen to my previous launch day to get my mind going with what I talked about. Like what I do is I listen to critique the previous launch recording on the same day, each day. And I can critique listening to myself from the last launch. Okay, that was good, but this time I think I'm going to say this. That was good, but I think I'm going to skip that this time, right? I am literally in the zone in the morning, right? Okay. Move your body. So that was mental attention. Physical attention is really about, if you move your body, typically, if you're a worker-outer, like, don't stop in the middle of your launch. That is the worst thing you can do for yourself and the worst thing you can do for your energy. I was still doing my sprint work. I'm pointing if you guys are watching me live because I have my treadmills over here, but I was doing my sprint work. I was training for my half marathon. I did my long run that weekend before I came on live. And I even let my audience know, like, hey, I'm sweaty today. This is my real life, but I'm here to serve, right? But I also need to take care of myself. It keeps the blood flowing. It keeps the oxygenation up. It keeps your adrenaline going, right? And you're just taking care of yourself, right? And this is so important because you must protect your energy through movement, meditation, nutrition, because people buy you. There are so many other LinkedIn coaches, right? The people who invested in my program this past week bought me. They could learn LinkedIn from a couple of different or a million different ways, but it's how you show up on screen. If you're typically kind of like, super chill, you might need to jump on a trampoline and drink a little coffee before you stream live, right? People are investing in you. They're investing in your energy. They're investing in your passion. And if you're burning the candle at both ends around your launch and cramming in a bunch of other stuff before you go live every day, it's going to translate in your energy and it's going to impact your income because you're not having a big impact on screen, right? Hope that makes sense. And I said this earlier, but just I literally clear my calendar except for streaming live for launch. In the mornings, it's all about exercising, guided meditations, breath work, getting into the zone, listening to the last launch, critiquing it, reviewing my notes, and getting ready to go. And I usually play some really fun music and dance and have a dance party right before, right? Okay. Towards the later end of my launch, when I say clean the calendar out, my calendar is totally clear for consult calls, back to back to back to back to back, being available to help potential clients identify if this is truly the right fit for them, right? We have to make space to close clients. And we create space well after the door closes because we have a policy, as long as they book their clarity call before the door closes, we'll honor them into the program. I have one today, right? And so there's this mass spillover of sales, a significant mass spillover of sales that happen after the door closes. And if we didn't have that policy, there's at least $150,000 we would not have made during our launch this go round. Okay. So a couple other things, content strategy. During your actual launch, right? How much is too much? What should I train on? The biggest thing is that you want to create immediate breakthroughs, right? You want people's eyes or minds to be blown from the beginning, but give them significant breakthroughs while they're working with you, right? And one of my favorite things to do is to actually, what we've started doing is have them actually catch, depending on what you're coaching on, we have them grab analytics at the very beginning so that when they're done with our masterclass, we have them grab additional analytics and they can see the evidence of the impact that we have made for them just in this short time together, right? And what that does is it creates confidence, it creates morale, or it creates trust, and you're being built as the authority, and they get this momentum going that they want to continue with you, right? They want to continue with you. Another tip, that pro tip that works really well, is we've learned to sprinkle in testimonials throughout our entire 9 days. Now, if you're brand new to launching, 9 days may feel overwhelming, right? You don't have to go all 9 days. We have found that's our magic spot. We've done 5, we've done 8, and 100% of the time, 9-day launches just work better for us. And I've been trained that methodology too. So sprinkling in testimonials as you go along, where many people actually purchase. They don't just purchase because of you. They actually purchase because of a story or a testimonial of someone they relate to, and or they know. I invested in a $30,000 program because I saw a testimonial from a chick I knew who was making 6 figures in launches. And I'm like, I am just as smart as she is. Oh my God, if she's doing this, I'm investing. I can do this too, right? So don't underestimate the value of bringing in testimonials, and use your testimonials to share best practices and infuse success stories, right? So that they don't feel like they're just being sold, but they're also getting value, right? With hearing what works. Last 2 things I want to hit on is how can you actually grow your registrations from the day you go live? We actually had over 500 people register after day 1 in our masterclass. And that is because we very pointedly encourage our registrants to go invite their networks, and we incentivize them to with a scholarship at the end of the masterclass. So you can quickly get new invitations into your masterclass. So don't feel like on day 1, oh, it is what it is. These are all the people I'm going to have. Leverage them to bring their networks in on day 1 and see the magic unfold with more and more registrants, right? We had 45, 50 people still registering in the last couple of days of our launch because they were telling their friends. So highly encourage that. Even have a referral program. The last thing I want to hit on is the fortune is in the follow-up. All right, I'm going to say this one more time. The fortune is in the follow-up. You're going to get cost objections from everyone. And I'm here to tell you, broke people go to Disney, right? And so it is your job to get on consult calls with them, get in conversations with them on social media, understand their challenge, understand their situation. People throw cost objections out of fear. They're afraid they're not going to succeed, and they need confidence that what you have to offer is actually going to help them get to their desired state. Selling is serving. Selling is hustle, right? We were at about 300 or 280K on closed cart day, right? And this is where I really want this to like make a light bulb moment for you guys. We are at about 280K on closed cart day on day 9. And as of today, we're at $550,000. That is from massive follow-up, right? From people who really wanted it, but they needed clarity. They needed to understand how their situation, their particular business, they needed custom one-on-one conversations with us to create the confidence that this is the right investment for them. And so where people go wrong with launches is they get to that last day, they close the cart and they're like, well, it is what it is. I didn't hit my goals. That is actually where all the magic happens. There is so much money on the table, and it's only there for a couple of days, where there needs to be mass follow-up with the fence sitters who were busy and didn't pull the trigger, have a lack of self-confidence that they can succeed, right? Or have these silly questions that just need to be addressed before they're willing to invest. So as my business coach always says, winners sprint to the finish, right? Winners sprint to the finish. I actually just did a podcast on half marathons and how we don't sprint from the beginning because you'll burn out, right? So this is, but we do sprint at the end. When I got close to the finish line for that half marathon, I picked up my pace. I blew past the pace guy. I crushed it, right? This is what we do during launches. You have to know that you have to take a deep breath when your cart's about to close, and you need to go in for the second inning, and you need to go big and know that there's a ton of money on the table, a ton of clients to bring in, a ton of lives to change. You just need to follow up or have a team that has a process for follow-up. I hope you guys enjoyed this post-launch episode. I'm so happy to be back doing some one-on-one episodes with you guys. Now that the chaos of our live event in Arizona and our huge launch is over, I'm getting back into a routine of creating my podcast episodes. So I hope you guys enjoyed it. And if you want a deeper dive and you want to learn more about launch strategy and you want to work with my team and get behind the scenes, you may want to take a look at our upcoming Business Basics Accelerator 6-month mini mastermind. We take the 6 core principles of online business, one of which is conversion events, and we work with our clients to create custom projects each month to drive results. And our clients get to work with myself and my expert team, and there's 2 live events that are included with it. If you're interested in taking a look at that, our next group applications are going right now. I think our next group starts in the midsummer. So you can go to burnouttoallout.co. You can check out my website there. Again, burnouttoallout.co. Check it out. Let us know if you have any questions. Hey, hit me up in the DMs. Let me know if you enjoyed this. And hey, give us some support over on the podcast. Give us a review if you're finding value in this. Hope you guys have a wonderful